How's it going, guys? I'm back once again for a review, and for tonight's review, I'm going to be talking about a movie that I've heard so many people talk about. One person that comes to mind is my friend Ross, aka RossyBoy19. He did a review of this movie, and then he has also talked about it in countless other videos. Another reviewer that I've seen talk about this movie is somebody I used to watch a lot on YouTube, Sculpting Fragments. He did a review of this movie a while back, and it really boasted the movie up and really made me want to see it. So I finally picked it up from Walmart just a few months ago, and for some reason I just never got around to watching it. I don't know what it was. I would go into my movie room, I'd see it up on my shelf, and I just never got a chance to watch it. And even I would even tell myself, I really should be watching this movie. So finally, about a week or so ago, I just was like, I'm going to watch this movie, and I popped it in, and I must say, I was really impressed by it. I was not disappointed in the least bit. The movie I'm talking about is the 2012 film American Mary, and this film was directed by and written by the Soska Sisters, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it stars Katharine Isabelle. And when I first picked up the DVD, I was looking at all the quotes on it. As you can see, there's tons of quotes of people, boasting the movie up. Even on the back it says a Frankenstein for the 21st century. And that made me a little bit weary, because how when so many people boast about a movie and they say how great it is, you're always a bit disappointed because it never lives up to the expectations that everyone puts it at. So, when I was about to pop the movie in, I was thinking, what, I'm sure it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be as good as everyone says it is. Boy, was I surprised that this movie actually was just as good as everyone said it was. Is it a new modern horror masterpiece? No. But this movie is a really great, solid horror film. It's got great acting, great atmosphere. Just everything about this film it's a really, really great movie. I'm going to give my own thoughts on the film later, but first I'm going to go ahead and give a bit of a rundown of the story. Basically, Katharine Isabelle plays this med student named Mary Mason, and she basically she's in this class with her professor, and she's always missing class, or she always has her phone out, and her professor is giving her a really hard time on it. And she lives in this apartment where she actually owes a lot of money, and she's pretty much broke. She owes a lot of money, and she's not paying her bills. She owes like $300 and something like that, and she really needs to find like an extra job. So what she does is that she actually goes to a stripper joint, which is run by this guy named Billy, and basically asks, can she have a job there? While she's there, one of Billy's sort of henchmen come in, and or bodyguards come in and says, hey, we got this guy's been hurt, we need his help. So he basically tells Katharine's character, because he knows that she's a med student, she basically says, hey, how good are you at this? Can you help this guy out? And she's like, okay. And he basically offers her a lot of money, like $5,000. Hey, could you please go in and help this guy out? And he brings her in, and there's this guy laying there on this table, and his eyes all blooded up and everything. And basically, she has to work on him and help his eye out. After it's done that, she's very grossed out by it. She ends up getting sick about it, and that's pretty much it. Well, she ends up getting a call from this woman named Beatrice, and Beatrice basically asks her if she's a doctor, and of course she says no, she's not. Beatrice basically thinks that she is a plastic surgeon, even though she's not, and basically offers her a lot of money to come and help her friend out who wants a procedure done. And, of course, I keep calling her Katharine. Her name is Mary in the movie. Basically, Mary, she's really weary about it, but she ends up meeting Beatrice, and you can tell she's had a lot of work done. She's her face, she looks, like it's been done with plastic surgery. You know how people look with plastic surgery, and Beatrice is very upbeat, and she seems very happy with the way that she looks now, and she always talks about how that she really loves of how plastic surgeons, are around, because they can, make what people feel on the inside reflect how they look on the outside and things like that. And she's a very upbeat person. Well, she basically tells Mary about her friend that basically wants herself to look like a doll. because she's basically sick of people looking at her as a sexual object. And she talks about how that no one looks at dolls in that sort of way, in a sexual way. And basically she's asked her, hey, can you, cut off my nipples and sew up? And Mary, of course, at first she's weird about it, but they offer her a lot of money, and she ends up doing it. After she does that, Beatrice, she keeps bugging her about, coming back and doing more stuff. She ends up working for Billy a bit at the strip joint. She doesn't do any stripping, but while she's doing this, she's asked by her professor. Well, she's asked by one of her professor's colleagues. It tells her that they're having a party with all the surgeons, and that basically helps. So she can meet all the other surgeons at the hospital that her professor works at, and basically she goes there, and they've got drinks everywhere. Well, her professor ends up putting something in her drink, which causes her to basically pass out, or is drugged, basically, and he ends up raping her. And basically after that happens, something in Mary snaps, and she ends up getting Billy to basically get her professor where she can find him. And basically she basically does surgery on him by basically cutting out his tongue. She basically just redoes everything about him. She's basically torturing him, because he raped her. And from that point on, that's when Mary, she just basically changes, and she basically starts her own body modification business, and she basically, is getting clients in there that wants her to perform surgery on them. That's pretty much all for the storyline I'm going to give away, because there's a lot of other things that are going on in this film and that I really don't want to get into. I'm going to go ahead and give my own thoughts on the movie. First off, I want to say the acting, really, really great, especially with, Katharine Isabelle. She's really, really great in this film. You feel so much sympathy for her throughout the entire movie. You're always worried about, what's going to happen to her, especially when she's drugged. But then once she starts actually, doing surgery for people, and you see her sort of, in some sort of way, snap, at one way you're sort of wondering, wow, she might be actually going a bit crazy, but at the same time, you still have sympathy for her, which I really think is really cool. Like, at one point, you're not really sure what she's going to do, and at another point, you still relate to her a lot, like, she basically just, like I said, went from living in an apartment with her parrot. She has a pet parrot, and now she's basically working for Billy, they're paying her a lot of money, where he basically gets guys, and she basically tortures him in some way by body modification. But she also helps a lot of people. Like, she helps this one guy who wants to get his tongue divided, for his girlfriend. He does that. There's one scene where a guy asks her if he can get some piercings, and she's like, do I look like I do piercings? Why don't you get the fuck out of here? Stuff like that, where even though you have sympathy for her and you think that she's a good person, at the same time she's a real bitch in this movie, which I think is a really great. I mean, the way that she looks, on the cover is the way that she pretty much is in the movie. Looks really tough. She doesn't take shit from anybody in this movie. Once that happens to her, once she's raped, just everything changes for her. But at the same time, she still has sympathy. She wants to be able to trust people, especially Billy's trying to get into her pants the entire movie, and she basically sees him as one of her only friends throughout the entire film. Now let's talk about the gore. The gore is really great. During the scenes when she's doing the modifications on Beatrice's friend, like cutting off her nipple and stuff like that, you don't see that at all in any gory detail. There's also a scene where these two twins, which are right here, they basically want to have parts of each other going inside of each other in some way. And there's scenes where, like you see Mary like cutting off part from the top of one of their eyes and putting it into the other person's eye. There's close-ups of that, but none of the surgery or anything is really in graphic detail, which I think saves it from being a gore fest in some way, because it doesn't show a lot of gore. Really, the only gory scenes is when you actually do get to see her professor, and after after she's done some work on him, and he's basically suspended up with these two hooks in the back of his skin. He has no arms, no legs, and his tongue is cut out. And that's pretty much the only really grotesque scene in the whole movie. And she's basically torturing him doing that. But other than that, there's really not a lot of gore on it, So for anybody that's anyway squeamish, I'm not really squeamish, but I don't like seeing like needles. I'm not really squeamish on that, but at the same time, I just don't want to see it. There's maybe like one or two scenes that involve needles, but it's not done in any graphic way, which I think saves it from being, like I said, an exploitation movie. This is one movie that it really doesn't rely on gore. It's more of a psychological film. You see this woman, start off as just, this trouble med student, just trying to make ends meet, and then you see her change into something way more diabolical, which I really do like. I love movies that, you see somebody change in that sort of way, and you see them, go a bit mad sometimes, but at the same time, you still feel sympathy for her. So even though she's doing these horrible things to people, you still feel sympathy for her, which I think I applaud Katharine Isabelle for her performance, because she really does that. She's kind of like, I always refer to this as one of those people that they act all tough, but deep down they got a soft heart. I know that sounds cheesy, but she really does. You have sympathy for her, but at the same time, you see her torturing people in some way. But she also helps a lot of people in the film as well. So it's not like she's just getting people and torturing them. She's really also helping a lot of people too, and making people feel good about themselves, and making them look the way that they want to look. And body modifications and stuff like that, I'm not a huge fan of it. Personally, I think that it makes people look more fake. If you get modifications on your face, then it doesn't make you don't look normal to me. But at the same time, I understand that some people, they don't like their appearance. I don't like my appearance, and they want to change it in some way. And so when I see stuff like this happening in movies, I do like to see it in some ways. I like to know that there are options for people that don't like the way that they look, and they can change the way that they look. And this movie, sort of, it has that in there, and there are positive moments in it, because the way that this movie could have been where she just snaps and just randomly starts torturing people that come and sees her. No, she actually is helping these people out and making money at it, where at the same time she has her professor hung up in her room somewhere. So yeah, so I like that aspect of it. But can I recommend this movie? Absolutely. Does it live up to the hype that I thought it was going to be? No, it doesn't, but it really is a stylist movie. It's really great acting, solid storyline. Everybody in this movie is really believable. You really care about the characters in the movie, even some characters that you didn't think you would care about. You end up caring about them. There's not really anybody in this movie you don't like, basically throughout the entire movie, except for maybe some of the, like I said, some of her colleagues that she supposedly worked with. That, especially her professor. You don't like him at all. He's pretty much the only character I didn't like in this movie. Everyone else, I really did like, and it's one of those. It's a rare occasion when you actually like and have sympathy for every person in a certain movie, and this one really does it. So, if you have not seen American Mary, I definitely recommend checking it out. Really great movie. Like I said, it's not that expensive. If I had to rate this movie, I would definitely give it 3.5 stars, maybe even 4 stars to be exact. I mean, it really lives up to the hype. It's not a complete gore fest. It's not. There's some creepy moments in it, but it's not a full-on horror. I didn't feel like I was watching a horror movie when I was watching it. I just felt like I was watching a story about a woman that, she's helped some people out, but at the same time she's sort of torturing people. So I would call it a thriller. I really do. I mean, I don't really there's some horror elements, but I think that due to the lack of gore and due to the lack of her just snapping and and torturing people throughout the whole movie, it saves it from being just a typical horror movie, and for that I really enjoyed it. So 4 stars, definitely. Really, really great movie. Highly recommend it. Check it out. It's not expensive at all. So yeah, guys, that was it for my review for American Mary. I know this hasn't been one of my best reviews. I'm really, really tired right now, and I've been doing stuff throughout the week, but next week I do have a lot more videos planned, so please stay tuned because I've got so many other videos that I'm going to be doing next week. I won't be so busy next week, so I will be doing a lot of stuff, with reviews. I'm also going to be doing videos where I'm going to show off my books that I have in my collection. So, yeah, if you've seen American Mary, definitely let me know what you guys think about it, because I really did enjoy it, and I know a lot of people have. I have seen some people say that they really hated it, so if you like it, definitely let me know if you do, and if you don't, definitely let me know why you don't like it, because I'm always interested in seeing what you guys think of this. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone for subscribing. You guys are awesome. See you guys later.